Live streaming is on.
Welcome to episode number 323 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording live on YouTube on September 19, 2020. A lot of things to talk about this week, including the greatest boss, voting Swisher's sway, logo fonts, YouTube Shorts, Pottymouth Patagonia, Facebook new, no YouTube multitasking, some cool tools, some smiles, and we top it off with some stats about virtual reality use that you want to stick around for at the end of the show, but we kick it off with Best Story of the Week, and BL always has that honor. BL, what do you got?
Well, I really needed some good news, and I think everybody does. This is about the world's greatest CEO. And back in 2015, Dan Price, who's the CEO of Gravity Payments, which is a credit card processing company, he raised everyone in the company's base pay to $70,000. And this week, he spoke to ABC News Localish about what happened in the 5 years since. So this is from his post on Twitter, Dan Price, and here's what he said. He said, since we raised the minimum wage to $70,000 in 2015, revenue tripled, product doubled, employee 401k contributions grew by 130%, staff having kids and buying homes grew by 10 times, 67% paid down their debt, and their turnover was cut in half. And he follows that by saying happy employees are good for society and good for business. And, pointing out that he took a pay cut and that when people are working hard for a company, they should be able to live. And that's the responsibility of the company. But profit doubled.
Everybody likes money.
Everybody needs money.
Everybody needs money. Everybody likes money. Everybody likes to get paid. And it looks like Travis Scott is getting paid. So there is I just noticed a McDonald's commercial running this week featuring Travis Scott, the Travis Scott meal. It's a 30-second spot that features the rapper as a stop-motion action figure. He's jumping around on a McDonald's tray, so he lands on the tray, and he talks about his his McDonald's Travis Scott meal. Really, it's just the same meal that they've been serving for years, for time immemorial. Quarter pounder, bacon cheeseburger with fries and a drink. They just renamed it. But the animation style. So it's stop motion animation. It's an extension of his 90210 music video, which is itself a direct ripoff of Seth Green's stop motion action figure style for his Robot Chicken show. So we'll embed the videos in the show notes so people can see the comparisons and the direct correlation. But also, it struck me that how do you shoot commercials during a pandemic where you can't have bring a crew together and shoot commercials the way you usually did? Stop motion animation seems like a good option.
It's a perfect option. Yeah, I saw that ad, but since I don't eat at McDonald's and I'm not a Travis Scott fan, I didn't get too excited. But it is a great way to do advertising, and stop motion animation is a wonderful invention. Yeah. So this week, Snapchat rolled out a whole bunch of voting tools, including a feature allowing you to register to vote directly in Snapchat. And more than half of the users who registered through Snapchat actually voted in 2018. And that is really cool. It's just great news. So the user base is broadly encompasses people under the age of 30. And they haven't even rolled out their bigger promotions. They're going to do more, like the one with former President Barack Obama, encouraging young people to register to vote on Snapchat. And other politicians like Ohio Governor John Kasich and celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Arnold Schwarzenegger are also going to appear in Snapchat public service announcements. And Twitter is introducing an election hub also that will provide real-time voting and election information and breaking election related news. And the hub, it will appear at the top of the Explore tab for the U.S. It's already there for U.S. users, and it'll have Twitter moments from reputable news outlets. And its curation team is in English and Spanish, live streams of debates and other major events, and a tool that shows candidates in a user's state and the local news from your state. So social media is getting very heavily involved in the elections in ways that differ from Facebook, which we'll talk about later.
What I hope is that everybody, I think mainstream media is clued into this, but I hope the social media channels do this as well, is framing it not as election night,
right,
but framing it as election month is really the way it should be framed.
Era.
Because it's not, I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that a bunch of Trump voters go in and vote in person on November 3rd, and then all Biden voters, a bunch of Biden voters, are vote by mail, and they don't come in right on election night.
Well, it's already in Twitter. It's already on Snapchat. There's a tremendous number of public service announcements having people plan their votes. So I think that it's not going to be, I think everybody's prepared for the fact that it's not going to be election night results like we're used to.
I hope so. I mean, you can absolutely take advantage of the framing of that and expectations and just say, oh, I won. No need to count those extra ballots. Those don't count.
God help us.
Because that's going to happen. Anyway, this is fantastic. This is from My Modern Met. Sarah Barnes wrote about a designer named Emmanuel Abrate, I believe is how it's pronounced, who has a project called Logo Fonts. You love this, BL. This is actually an Instagram account that he has, that he reveals the fonts that are used in some of the biggest brands, Nike, Spotify, YouTube, among them, and demonstrates how they're used by putting them in the context of the logo itself. So there's a Starbucks logo that has, Starbucks logo has the name Starbucks on it, but instead of that, it's the name of the font. So you see it in context of the logo itself. It's great. Twitter uses Pico font. USA Today uses Futura. Target uses Helvetica. Adobe and Shopify use Myriad. And it just goes down the list. You can just scroll through this and check them out. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes so people can check it out. It's very well done.
Oh, I love that. My family had a typography business. And so I grew up, looking at type books and handling hot type back when that was the way it happened. And, I'm a big type person, and I've been so disappointed by the use of type on the internet. So maybe this will help. The type on the internet is so freaking boring. But other good news is that Kara Swisher is going to have a podcast via the New York Times, and it's called Sway. And it's all about power and influence. It starts on September 21st. It'll be twice a week. And she will be investigating power, who has it, who's been denied it, and who dares to defy it. And she will interview, everybody who's anybody, as she's always done. Since her days at the Wall Street Journal with Walt Mossberg. And it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And you can also listen on the Times site. But I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, she's just really such a great interviewer and has such wonderful insights. And, this is good news.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. She's all of the above, and she's smart. She has smart questions, and she knows enough to do the follow-up properly as well, which is often missing in interviews with people. So can't wait for that. I think we're probably not going to be able to get it on TikTok, because that's being banned on Sunday. So everybody's rolling out their own clones now. Instagram has its Reels, and now YouTube has officially launched its clone called Shorts. This is from the Next Web's Napier Lopez, who writes about it. Officially called Shorts. It's a short form video feature. It'll be within the main YouTube app. It includes video creation tools that are similar to what you'll find on TikTok and Reels. They're rolling it out in India right now as a beta. Each short will be 15 seconds long or less. You can string multiple clips together. And the biggest asset, I think, is the vast music library that YouTube has that they'll be able to leverage to include in as background songs for the shorts. There'll be a timer and a countdown when you start for when you can start filming. You can control your recording speed. There's some creative options, and we don't have access to it because we're not in India. So
yeah, but it's coming soon, and
I can imagine.
Yeah, I think it comes first to creators. And then a thousand subscribers and up, or maybe 10,000 and up is how they usually do these launches. But I'll have it right away because of Tickies. So yeah, they're talking about it, but we can't see it. So yeah, I can't wait. So this is Patagonia has long been a forthright brand about issues in the world, and this is from an Ad Age story by Adrienne Pasquarelli, who has this wonderful Twitter handle. She likes to shop. But anyway, Patagonia has labels in their shorts for men and women that say "Vote the assholes out." And apparently these were discovered in the tags of several Patagonia garments. So a spokeswoman for Patagonia noted that the founder of the company, Yvonne Chouinard, has been talking about voting the assholes out for years. And by assholes, he means politicians from any party who deny or disregard the climate crisis and ignore science. So the spokeswoman also said that the tags are added to a 2020 collection of men's and women's, I love this name, Regenerate Organic Stand-Up Shorts, because we've been standing up to climate deniers for almost as long as we've been making these shorts. And so besides the shorts, Patagonia has a site has resources on its site for anybody who wants to vote for those who support climate change. It's called There, and it represents a tamer statement. It says, vote the climate deniers out of office. But, what a good thing for a lot of companies are stepping up to the plate, and I love this one.
My initial reaction to seeing that story was, well, if you're going to take a strong political stand as a brand, that's about the safest strong political stand you can take, because it's in the eye of the beholder. Assholes
Exactly.
are, I can be a Trump supporter and
everybody else is an asshole. Right?
Exactly. So it is interesting that I didn't know the backstory of the climate denier, climate crisis reason for the labels. That's good. I'm done with good stuff.
Me too. I'm on to bad news. Okay. This is BuzzFeed obtained this week the 6,600 word internal memo from a former Facebook data scientist. And she exposes how Facebook knew specific examples of global political manipulation with fake accounts. They knew and they failed to act. They turned a blind eye to it. So the memo was written by Sophie Zhang, and it's filled with concrete examples of heads of government and political parties in Azerbaijan and Honduras using fake accounts and misrepresenting themselves to sway public opinion. She was fired from her job in August. She was sort of a junior person. And she said she didn't want her report to go public for fear of disrupting Facebook's efforts to prevent problems around the 2020 election. And she had concerns for her own safety, which is why BuzzFeed didn't publish her report. But they published parts of it, and it's clearly in the public interest that they did that. As a whistleblower, she points to the fact that Facebook has no real mechanism to gauge how much of a grip the company has on its own infinitely vast platform. And that's the real issue. Facebook is so big. And she said she, as a junior person, was often forced to intervene on matters of international importance, because she said, well, Facebook didn't really care and it was left to her and she had a conscience. And she said that she turned down a $64,000 severance package to avoid signing a non-disparagement agreement. And that allowed her to speak out internally, and she used that freedom to reckon with the power she had to police political speech. And she wrote that she was just 6 months into the job when she found coordinated inauthentic behavior and Facebook's internal team for the use of multiple fake accounts that were boosting engagement or spreading content benefiting the Honduran president Juan Orlando Hernandez. And her LinkedIn profile said she worked as a data scientist for the Facebook site integrity fake engagement team and dealt with bots influencing elections and so forth. And she said she considered herself to be put in an impossible spot, caught between her loyalties to the company and her loyalties to the world as a whole. And she said, the last thing I want to do is distract from our efforts for the upcoming U.S. elections. Yet I know this post will likely do so internally. I know I have blood on my hands by now, she said, because of the things she did while she was there. And, you know, Facebook projects this image of strength and competence to the outside world. But the reality is that many of their actions, she says, are really slapdash and haphazard accidents. And she and her colleagues removed, this is mind-blowing, 10.5 million fake reactions and fans from high-profile politicians in Brazil and the U.S. in the 2018 elections. And Facebook basically doesn't deny her findings. You know, they only said that the issues she found, however significant, were less pressing than the many other issues that the civic integrity team was policing at the time. I wonder what those are.
Yeah, Facebook doesn't know what it is anymore because the code is writing itself, essentially. I mean, the problem when you get into that complexity of artificial intelligence is you can't untangle it and know what to fix or what's broken because you can't decipher what's going on.
And she also says that, you know, unfortunately, the ultimate decisions are all Mark Zuckerberg, and they don't get to him until they're an awful big mess. And, you know, she said it is an awful big mess. And, you know, it's been proven and reported on over and over that Russia is right at this moment interfering with the election, and that, you know, Facebook is allowing stuff going on there that other social platforms are banning. And, you know, if Facebook were a country, I believe it would be the largest one in the world.
There's a national algorithmic safety board that goes in when there's a mess regarding algorithms, goes in and deciphers the code and says what's broken, like we have for air safety, to determine what caused an airline crash. Basically the same thing, but for algorithms. Because
but then it already happened. The problem already happened.
Well, but you need to figure out what went wrong to fix it, right? And we're not figuring out what went wrong at all. So
yeah, that's the problem.
So there's that. Anyway, blessed be the whistleblowers is all I say to that.
Yeah.
This is not nearly as bad. This is from a Verge story by Jay Peters, and he discovered that iOS 14's new feature, the picture-in-picture mode that Apple's new operating system has, lets you watch a video in a small window while you're doing other things on your phone. It looks like YouTube has stopped those videos from playing when picture-in-picture mode is activated, unless you're a YouTube Premium subscriber.
Oh, come on.
You can watch the picture-in-picture mode if the video is embedded on a website, or if you're a Premium subscriber, then it works, but not if you're a free user. It could be a bug. I mean, it could be, conceivably. It could also be a way of preserving the value of video ads, which I suspect it is, because, of course, if you're watching a YouTube video and you go picture-in-picture mode, then that video gets infinitely smaller on a very small screen, and that the ads that play in that small screen are pretty much useless because it's so small.
Well, you know, YouTube has some rather daunting rules. I mean, on YouTube, of view for an ad is 30 seconds, meaning you got to watch the whole thing. And, you know, on other platforms, it's 10 seconds. So
It's 3 seconds on Facebook.
It's how much? 3 seconds?
3 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's more like it, you know. But yeah, so you know, you really have to have huge volume to make money on YouTube. And there are people who do, of course. But I'm on to smiles.
All right, what do you got?
We need some.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we both love robots, and this is a new gizmo. It's a robot that makes rollatini, and don't type. And it's from Da Vinci Kitchens, and they use this droid technology to create pasta dishes, and they can be programmed with thousands of recipes, ingredients, and cooking temperatures. And the machine creates pasta, cooks, and serves it all in around 6 minutes, according to TechCrunch. And it can prepare 2 dishes simultaneously, and then it cleans the dishes in about 20 to 30 seconds. And it's modular, so the machine could potentially be outfitted to prepare other foods, including salads and different takes on the pasta theme. You could have you know, Asian instead of Italian, for example. I want one of those.
So basically, it's taking the joy out of cooking.
Well, it's one way to look at it. That's only one way to look at it. Do you have a smile?
I don't. I'm depending on you for them.
Okay, well, this is from My Modern Met, and this is so cool. Disney princesses have been reimagined as millennials, and so these include princesses as empowered career women, Renaissance paintings, and even Game of Thrones characters. But this one is Daria Artemisia, who shows how these characters would look if they were modern-day millennials. And so you see Snow White taking a selfie, Cinderella enjoying a slice of pizza, Pocahontas says Coachella Music Festival, and each modern makeover keeps each princess's signature style and personality. And in one image, Ariel, the Little Mermaid, wears her seashell bikini over a white crop top. And in another, modern Belle from Beauty and the Beast wears denim overalls featuring an enchanted rose embroidery design.
I was expecting one of them to be eating like avocado toast, or maybe portrayed as a snowflake, but.
So I have one more. This is from Twitter. I saw this morning. There was 2 people waiting in line in a store. It looked like a grocery store, and the woman was checking out. The man standing behind her, and the woman's credit card is declined. And the cashier says, "Well, do you have cash?" And she says, "The bill is $24. I have 14. You have to take out the diapers." The man, at that point, he heard enough. He walks up and he says, "How much do you have?" She said, "I have $14. And he said, "Well, here's the rest." She said, No, you don't have to do that." And he said, "Yes, I do." And so that was it. I mean, it was no, you know, here's how you pay me back. It was a random act of kindness. And I hope to see a lot more of those.
I did that one time, but I wasn't doing it out of kindness. I was doing it out of frustration because I wanted to get the hell out of the grocery store. So there's no, you know, it wasn't an act of generosity. It was just like more convenient for me to just.
It didn't look that way with this man, but that was, you know, seeing her take the diapers out of the pack.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you had his baby at home.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
On to cool stuff or shiny new stuff. So this isn't shiny or new, but it is something I haven't talked about before, so I'll do it now. This is the Facebook Pixel Helpers. I've been working on a client's website, implementing some social media advertising, and in order to do that, you install the Facebook Pixel. Most people just install the Pixel, the base Pixel, and be done with it. But there are things that you can do to get it to trigger, like when somebody buys something or somebody clicks on a submit button or something. You can track those and create audiences out of that. Make Facebook much more effective for your advertising. But the Facebook Pixel Helper is a Chrome extension that you can install to help you figure out whether you're doing it correctly when you're installing these more custom installations of the Facebook Pixel. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes for people who are interested in that.
That's very cool. Well, this past week, Vimeo got more pro-friendly, and that makes a lot of sense because Vimeo really is more of a pro platform. But they redesigned their profile pages, and so professional videographers can now have their contact information right on their page, clearly displayed, and you can customize video sections and add a client module to show off your experience. But what's really cool about what they did is that all the editing and previewing now happens on the same page. So you don't have to dig through, to a setting and make changes and then come back. So they made it very simple. And I think that I wish every app would do it that way. Really? So do you have another?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
This is from Search Engine Journal's Roger Monti, and Google has a new service or tool or offering. It's from Google's Area 120 kind of skunkworks division.
They do great things.
Yeah, it's called Fundo, Google Fundo. It is an online service that allows video creators to sell tickets to private events. It's basically an end-to-end solution. Everything happens on the site, so you don't have to download an app. Users don't have to download an app, but you can create I signed up for it. The sign up is very easy. It connects to your YouTube channel. And you can now create events that you can charge for, video events that you can charge for. There's 3 types of events. The first type is one-to-one chats plus photos. So you can charge for basically one-to-one chats, and then the plus photos is a feature where you can basically have a virtual photo booth to take pictures of the person that you're chatting with together. So it's kind of like an influencer tool, I think, where celebrities can use it to have an event with a single individual, and rather than like a book signing, maybe, rather than signing the book in person, you meet the author, you can chat with them one-on-one and get a virtual photo taken with it. It's more consumerish that way. The second type of event is meet and greets. So this is like the one-to-one events, but more people.
I like that.
And then the third type is workshops, and this is basically webinars that you can charge for, and you can invite as many people as you want, presumably, but it could be, you and I could do something with small business owners and helping them figure out what they want to do with their online presence, for example. The security is sound, apparently, according to Fundo. There's no way for the uninvited guests to crash a Fundo event. The events are ticketed, so only one person per ticket can join, and the price it's free. But I haven't gotten far enough into I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know what the transaction fee is for these. I suspect there is one, so I don't know what it is, but it looks interesting. It is Google, so it could be gone, 2 weeks from now.
Usually they wait till you're really into it before they take it away. Oh, millions of people are using it. Let's end it. Well, Zoom now has a feature that's kind of cool. They let you drag and drop people in the gallery view, so you can put them in any order that you want. So you can put your speaker, there's a lot of times when there's a lot of people in there and the speaker's over on the third screen. And so you can put people where you want them to. And I think that's a really wonderful feature. And then the other thing that certainly isn't new, but new to me, is Journalists Toolbox. And it's a free, it's a free twice monthly newsletter, and it's got a lot of tips and tricks and resources, and it's got training videos for professionals, but the information there is really great for anybody and lots of really good things.
Yeah, that's really great. The Zoom edition is good too. It's definitely needed.
Yeah, so does that bring us to politics?
It does.
You got one?
I do. First of all, let me get the right attire here. I finally got my Lincoln Project hat in the mail, so I'm gonna share it with y'all. Looks good. I haven't worn it out in Chaska yet, and gone to Home Depot with it on to see how the Trump supporters. Actually, it doesn't fit very well over my headphone. My political one is not the Lincoln Project. Actually, it's a documentary called Unfit: The Psychology of Donald Trump. It's available everywhere on demand now. The description of it from the website is Donald Trump fit to hold office, the president of the United States? I think we all know that the answer to that. An eye-opening analysis of Trump by leading U.S. mental health professionals and Republican strategists on the record, for the record, science, truth, duty to warn.
Jeez, I'm reading the Mary Trump book at the moment. You can only read it in small doses. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
You know what kind of person this is. But speaking of Trump, there were a bunch of teenagers who were paid by a pro-Trump troll farm, and they, you know, the posts are the product of a really secretive but very large campaign that apparently evades the guardrails that are put in place by social media companies. And the guardrails are to avoid the disinformation of the kind used by Russia in 2016. So this is from a Washington Post story by Stanley Isaac Becker. And in 2016, there were Macedonian teenagers interfering in the election by running a troll farm and writing salacious articles for money. In this election, the troll farm's in Phoenix, Arizona. And in 2020, the teens are paid to pump out messages at the direction of a group called Turning Point Action, which is an affiliate of Turning Point USA, which is the conservative, the most prominent conservative youth organization. And it's based in Phoenix, and it's headed by Charlie Kirk. And one tweet claimed that they did claim that coronavirus numbers are intentionally inflated, adding it's hard to know what to believe. And another warned, don't trust Dr. Fauci. There were thousands of identical posts, and they were lifted from a shared document, as it turns out, and the users nowhere disclosed their ties. Twitter and Facebook acted after the Washington Post raised the questions. Twitter suspended at least 20 accounts involved in the activity for platform manipulation and spam in response to questions from the Washington Post. Facebook removed a number of accounts, as part of what they said is an ongoing investigation. It's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, it's caveat emptor out there for political information on social media.
Yeah.
Just be careful what you're consuming.
Yeah. Got another?
I don't.
Well, this is a great one. This is called I Will Vote, at iwillvote.com, and it's where you go to make your plans to vote, because this year we have to have plans to vote. You don't just vote. So you go here, you make sure you're registered, see what your state's rules are. You can register right on the site. You can request a vote by mail. It tells you what the rules are for everything that your state has. Also, I haven't, and this is not really political, but this is my favorite tweet about the notorious RBG. And this comes from Brittany Cooper, who said on Twitter, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has earned her rest. May it be glorious, and may God have mercy on the rest of us as we lose another soldier in the fight against the worst impulses of this country.
Well said.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
All right. I got a pro tip. I've been for past month or so working on a website redesign, fairly big project, and when you do that and you spend that much time working on something, whenever you do a website redesign, you need to have other eyes on it, right? You need to.
For sure.
So my pro tip is along each step of the way in the development or the redesign process, you should have a fresh set of eyes. The developer knows the site inside and out. The designer knows the site inside and out. And as a result, you can just get blind to things. You can just not see things because you're so in the weeds with it. But having other developers look at it who are not involved in the project helps with the technical aspect of it. Having customers or users of the site look at it who have never seen it before are going to bring up a lot of different things that you're not going to notice. So just having a fresh set of eyes along each step of the way is a best practice.
and also having people who know nothing about the subject look at it.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's really clear, because that's what happens to us. You know, you get so involved in it, you just think that everybody will get it, and you know, they don't.
So let's wrap this up. Weekly numbers. This is from Nielsen. The pandemic has had a effect on a lot of us for a lot of various reasons, including media consumption. And for those of us, not myself not included, but those of us who have VR headsets, this is some stats on how people are actually using that in the wake of the pandemic. Roughly 7 in 10, 71% of people who have virtual reality headsets have spent more time using their device as a result of COVID-19. Not surprisingly at all. It is, but it, you know, you think of it as a solitary activity. But there's apps called VR Chat and Rec Room that are among the most popular VR apps on computers, and these are virtual social spaces. So it's not just a solitary activity. But I thought that was interesting, if not surprising.
What fun!
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have expected that to be something that was done in a group. So that brings us to the end of episode 323 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And to find us, all you do is search for Beyond Social Media Show. Links to the show, to everything we discussed today, are at beyondsocialmediashow.com/323. We'd love for you to let us know what you think. And I'm here with David Erickson, who is on Twitter as D Erickson, on Instagram as DE Erickson, or as I like to think of it, Dear Erickson. He's on YouTube as eStrategy. He's at e-strategyblog.com, which is a wonderful blog you definitely should read. And I'm BL Ochman. I'm at What's Next on Twitter. I blog at What's Next blog. On YouTube, I'm What's Next blog. I have a website at blochman.com, and Lucy the Rescue Puppies on Instagram. The show is, again, beyondsocialmediashow.com, and follow us on Twitter at BS Media Show. And you can listen to the Beyond Social Media Show podcast and subscribe, please, everywhere you get your podcasts: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio. Wherever you go for podcasts, we're there. And we'll be back next week.
Thanks for watching. All right.